Well, good morning, everyone. This is John Craig, and you are listening to Let Us Reason Together. And I am so glad that you've joined us here today. I'm kind of checking my schedule here, making sure everything is correctly. But I will be joined by my co-host shortly. I have one co-host sitting right next to me, Miss Sandi Craig. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. John Craig, birthday boy.
Birthday. Oh my goodness. You must be excited about my birthday. Because you've mentioned it more than once today.
I mentioned it when it began last night.
You did mention it last night, and oh my goodness.
Maybe the world wants to know.
The world wants to know. Well,
so they can celebrate with you.
They might want to do that. All right. So
do you not want me to mention it again today?
I think you already mentioned it.
No, you would be sad.
I'd be sad if you didn't mention it anymore.
Yeah, I know. Don't let him fool you. He would be.
It's a big day. It's a big day. It's the second day. It was the first day of Hanukkah, and at sundown it'll be the second day of Hanukkah. And guess what? You know, because if you mix the calendars together, then I get to celebrate my birthday for 2 days. Okay. Because we started at sundown last night, which is still on the Gregorian calendar as the second, but it technically goes into my birthday.
Oh, so you're talking the other few hours.
Yeah, and so then we get like 2 days of celebration.
See? So you do want everybody to know, it's your birthday, it's your birthday, it's your birthday.
I want you to do what you did earlier in the war room. Celebrate.
No, you did
times.
That.
Come on.
Who did that? Do you not even remember
it's good
who did that?
No, you did the dance. You did do a dance. Y'all are listening to Let Us Reason Together. I'm going to start my spiel, and then we can talk more.
Spiel?
My spiel. I always have an opening spiel.
I hope we have other co-hosts that join us.
I do too. So I am John Craig. I'm your second day of the week host, and this is Let Us Reason Together. And we have a cat in the background making noises. And this is based off of Isaiah 1:18. Come now and let us reason together, says Yahweh. Though your sins are as scarlet, they will be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they will be like wool. And yes, I'm looking over here to my right because I'm using 2 computer screens, and that's the screen that it is on. This is where we sit down and reason out current events, cultural shifts, and of course, this week's Torah portion. We can either push back or push through. Nevertheless, if iron does not sharpen iron, sparks will never fly, let alone ever get a fire going. And without a little heat and a good midrash, how will our hearts ever get soft and moldable enough to be transformed in the way the Spirit, the Ruach, wants us to be? Today is Monday, December the 3rd on the Gregorian calendar of the year 2018. It is the 25th day of the 9th month of Kislev in the Hebrew year 5779. So we don't want you to forget about that because it is a great day. Why is it a great day, Sandi?
You tell me. Why?
Because it's my birthday.
See, I told you guys, he does want everybody to know. Sing a little song, ditty. Sing a ditty
it's
with
my
it.
Birthday. It's my okay. All right, now we're gonna move on.
Let's try that again.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday. Okay. All right. Anyway, it's an interactive show. And so you can join us in the chat room because the chat room is up and live here on YouTube. And we want to be part of that. Hey, also check out the Facebook page for Messianic Lamb Radio on the Facebook page. And our website is www.isaiah118.com. You get more information of what we do here on Let Us Reason Together and our other co-hosts and hosts during the course of the week. Also want to let you know that Lamb Radio is a ministry that goes around the world, and it is your cheerful and generous donations and offerings that help keep this ministry on the air. And so what is today besides my birthday? Today is Strong Impressions Day. Are you getting a strong impressions about my birthday?
That it's your birthday?
Yeah. Strong Impressions Day. See, there's a purpose for why we do certain things on this show. And it's to emphasize different things. It's Nostalgia Day.
Are you nostalgic about?
My birthday. My birthday's in the past. It is also Self-Love Day.
Because it's your.
It's my birthday and I love me. It's Middle Age Day.
Because it's your.
This thing is really rhyming. I like the way this fits together. And by the way, I just want you to know that Immoral Acts Day has been canceled.
Well, hallelujah.
Yes, I officially, on my birthday, it is not a day for immoral acts. So there you go. Here's some other things. It is today Let's Hug Day on my birthday. Yes, I got a hug on my birthday. Woo, feeling good. It's Make a Gift Day. For my birthday. And it's National Apple Pie Day and Green Bean Casserole Day and National Roof Over Your Head Day and the start of Hanukkah Day. So there you go. And one other thing, just want to let you know, it's Tolerance Week. You got to put up with me or you just click off YouTube. But nevertheless,
no one would do that.
No one would do off. No, but why is it that some are more tolerated than others when we celebrate Tolerance Day? We should be equally tolerated. I don't know. There's just a thought. Well, and by the way, it's Decembeard month. Decembeard month. Are you going to grow a beard with me? No, please don't. And it's National Time Month. Okay, quote of the day.
Wait.
What?
We do have a comment.
We have a comment?
Marilyn said that you know all about sparks. And I'll say Sparky. And
I do. I know all sorts about sparks. It only takes a spark to get a fire going. That's
what is it? Wasn't
right.
that a song from back in the...
It's more than back in the day.
A fire going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, something like that. But there we go. Let's see if we can get a hold of our guys again.
I've been doing it like constantly.
Constantly? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I haven't stopped. Just FYI.
I'm filling time because I'm looking for my other co-hosts.
You usually spiel for at least 15 solid minutes, and you're not there yet, buddy.
All right. Because I'm missing my Tom Collins and my James Meyer. So join us this morning. Hey, so while we're doing that, we're waiting for them to join us. We've got the positive quote of the day from Anonymous. And it is, an optimist is one who makes the best of what he gets the worst of.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Make some lemonade with those lemons. How about funny quote of the day from Winston Churchill? Did you know Winston Churchill could be funny? Well, they think so. Let's see if y'all agree. Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. And then love quote.
I don't think that's funny.
You don't think that's funny?
No.
Well, someone did. Okay, how about the love quote of the day? Do you think this is loving? Loving? Does this make your heart swoon?
Let me hear it.
It's from Khalil Gibran, and it says, love is the veil between lover and lover. Did it make you swoon?
Yeah.
Okay, wait till next week. We'll get a better one next week. Verse of the day. This is from the half Torah. I'm sorry, from the Brit Chadesha portion of the Torah portion this week. Verse of the day, John 10:27 through 28. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give eternal life to them, and they will never perish, and no one will snatch them out of my hand. Isn't that a good verse? I like that verse. So what happened on this day in history? Well, on December 3rd, 1963, a young baby, did I say a young baby, or just babies are young? An infant was brought into this world on this day in 1963.
One?
Well, among others.
Who was that infant?
Are we asking that already?
Yes.
It's me.
Because it's your
birthday.
You know, your mom and dad are listening, and they're probably, I don't know what they're doing right now. They need to get in the chat room and let us know what they're saying. And your sister too, by the way, if she's
Go back and listen to the archives too. But yeah, they're gonna have a good laugh today because they'll get to celebrate with me on my
birthday.
Here's some other things that happened on my birthday in history. A birthday in her history, but not 1963. This is in 1818. Illinois became the 21st state of the U.S. It is also the day that Andrew Jackson was elected the 7th president of the United States. Very significant because he stood up against the federal bankers, the globalist bankers. Andrew Jackson did. And plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is. Yes, Alka-Seltzer went on sale today in 1931. Then also, did you remember this, Sandy? Do you remember about the Bhopal disaster in 1984? You were born by then.
I was.
And this is where the Union Carbide pesticide plant had a leak of 45 tons of methyl isocyanate and other toxic. Why am I getting a call?
You know what? Why don't you answer that? And I'll just, I don't
Phil?
know what I'll do. No, I will.
I'll be right back.
He will be right back. Actually, we can still see you. Okay, we hope you're having a good time. It is good to laugh, isn't it? It is good to laugh and play together because we can do that in the kingdom. Those of you who think, hey, being a believer is no fun, well, I don't know who told you that because that's not true. That's not true at all. To call you, so anyway, I know that you're listening to this conversation, 2 conversations actually right now. And but that's okay. So we're going to do it again, huh?
Yes, we're going to do it again. Okay. We're going to call Tom in right now again and see if we can make that connection happen.
Yep. So do you want to continue?
We're going to continue. Yeah, so the Bhopal disaster. Yeah, this pesticide leak. Get this. And it happened on this day, 1984, where the official figures that it killed 2,259 people in India. That's a big deal. I mean, and I don't even remember. I guess I barely remember this incident happening. And the other estimates are as high as 16,000, which included later deaths and over 500,000 injured. Isn't that wow? That was in 1984. And then a big deal. Give a drum roll. Okay, 1989. Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev and U.S. President George H.W. Bush declared the Cold War was over. On my birthday in 1989.
On your birthday.
On my birthday. Okay. And then on my birthday last year, in 2017, you know what happened?
No.
They had the first pizza party at the International Space Station.
Ew, I wonder if it was.
I wonder what type of pizza that was.
I bet it had pork on it.
Was it delivery or was it DiGiorno? Well,
by the way, I've tried again. So just FYI.
Okay. All right. So we're going to.
Marilyn wants to know, do you think the taser was invented on this day?
On my birthday?
On your birthday?
I bet you it was. If it wasn't, it was in someone's thoughts.
So it was the thinking of it. It was invented on this day.
On my birthday, they were thinking of the taser.
Oh my. I bet someone wants to know if you've gotten into any sugar.
I have not had sugar today. I have a dog named Sugar and I petted Sugar.
You petted Sugar?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to say, Tom, if you will log off completely, refresh, maybe just completely turn off your computer, reboot, and then we'll try calling you back on again.
Yeah.
Completely down, and we'll try to see if that doesn't make it connect.
Okay.
Do we know about Mr. James Meyer this morning?
I don't know about James yet this morning. So,
well,
but you know who else is celebrating birthdays?
Tell us who else is celebrating birthdays
besides me. Okay, so Ozzy Osbourne is 70 today. Yeah, not one of my biggest, I was never an Ozzy Osbourne fan, but his birthday is today. Julianne Moore is 57 today, and John Craig is 55 today.
And that was it? There's only 3 people in the world that have birthdays today?
Well, General McClellan of the Union Army of the Civil War, he was born on this day. But I don't remember the date. It was 18 something.
Weren't you around then?
I was not around because I just told you my age.
I didn't know if it was in dog years or.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about the lighter side of things. If you haven't unwrapped your brain yet this morning, we're going to really do it well. And so.
I'm this way. Unwrapping.
Okay. So on the lighter side of things, so you can jumpstart your brain, I specifically wanted to make sure that Miss Sandi Craig was joining me this morning because it was very, very important. Because a couple weeks ago, I promised, and even last week, I promised that the women would have their day. Because what happened before is that we had talked about classes for men that men needed to have. And so now we're talking about classes for women. And so we did men first, so I would not seem chauvinistic. So now we have equal opportunity, and everyone has equal opportunity pay here on LambTube.
All right.
You get paid the same as I do.
Okay.
Which we don't get paid anything. We just come and have fun. So are you ready, Miss Sandi Craig?
No.
No? Are you ready? Because this is supposed to be humor based.
Okay, let's see. Wait, I've got to start off neutral.
Okay. Can't hold it. Can you hold it? All right, here we go. This is the humor based on male-female differences, understanding that there are differences between the two genders. And it's suitable for amending to suit your work or your office. Training is a particular fertile area for spoof courses. Meanwhile, sit back and have some fun. Why do I have to say that? Because I'm giving a caveat that I am not legally responsible for your intolerance. Not your intolerance, but maybe anybody that's listening's intolerance. Because this is Tolerance Day on my birthday. So classes.
On what?
No. Classes for women at your local adult learning center. And that center is spelled C-E-N-T-R-E.
Oh, so it's not from the U.S.
All right. So I just wanted to making sure everybody understands that we have these courses. And these are male organized courses for women because women had the female organized courses for men. Okay. Now we're completely clarifying these things, right? All right. So note that due to the complexity and difficulty and level of the subject area, class sizes will be limited to 5 women. Okay. All right. There's a complexity and difficulty. So we may have to, we'll do multiple courses, but you can sign up. Class 1. So class 1, up in winter, down in summer, how to adjust a thermostat. Step by step with slide presentation. It meets for 4 weeks, Monday and Wednesday, for 2 hours beginning at 7 p.m.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that's class number 1.
No.
How to adjust a thermostat.
It goes down in the summer and down in the winter. Open the window even if it's 30 degrees outside and cool down the house. That's our rule.
Slide presentations. Everything step by step.
You wrap yourself in 10 blankets and I have one.
And we hang beef.
It feels good that way. And I will say that I heard where was it? I think it was Joy and Rick's house. They said they open their windows even this time of year, just like I want. I'm not alone.
We live in Texas.
You need cold at night. Cold.
So we don't live down south in Texas where you open your windows just to cool the house off because it's just hot out, and no, we live in the panhandle of Texas. We have 4 seasons in our part of the state.
Yeah,
just want you to know. Okay. All right. Class number 2, which takes more energy, putting the toilet seat down or moaning about it for 3 hours. And this will be a roundtable discussion. Meets 2 weeks, Saturdays from 12 for 2 hours.
In that, we're going to demonstrate to the male teacher. We're going to have a toilet sitting there. Make sure it's nice and cold.
Wait a minute.
And he needs to go sit on it with the lid raised just in the middle and make it really dark in the room and try that out.
I want to ask you a question. I don't think you have to have that class.
I don't, because you're in another bathroom.
No? Do I ever leave the toilet seat up?
No, you don't. You're very good. You passed my class.
It's your class. Women are not teaching this class.
No, but you passed the class on how to put the toilet seat down.
You know when that
on your birthday.
You know when that training started?
On
my birthday in 1963.
Your mama trained you well.
She did train me well. You need to say thank you to my mama.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you very much.
All right. Class number 3. Is it possible to drive past a waitress without stopping?
Huh?
A Waitrose. What's a Waitrose?
Did you not read these?
I did read those. I never did look that up to figure it out. That in our country, that class has been canceled. It was supposed to meet for 4 weeks from Saturday from 10 p.m. for 2 hours. See, these Saturday classes, there's the 10 o'clock.
I don't know that I'm taking those classes on Shabbat.
Okay.
I have to tell you, you're going to have to switch the days.
We'll switch. Well, I didn't set the schedule.
Well, I'm not taking any of those classes on Shabbat.
Okay. We'll reschedule for the Shabbat keepers.
Well, hopefully that's everybody.
Hopefully it's everybody. That's right. How about class number 4? Fundamental differences between a handbag and a suitcase. There'll be pictures and explanatory graphics.
Okay, what?
Yeah. Differences between a handbag and a suitcase. The pictures and explanatory graphics. It'll meet on Saturdays at 2 p.m. for 3 weeks.
I want to clarify this for everybody. I don't carry a purse. No, but does.
Your granddaughter really likes purses.
My granddaughter loves purses. But he carries a purse / backpack that's this big. It is a suitcase. I don't carry a purse. He does.
I have a backpack that carries my computer.
And oh my goodness, there's so much more in there. I've thumbed through it.
Oh my goodness. You
need to take, what is the difference between a backpack / purse and a suitcase?
Underwear. One carries underwear and the other doesn't.
That's the difference. I don't think that course is going to take long.
It's for 2 hours for 3 weeks.
So I have never found underwear in your backpack. So that's true.
Okay. So there you go. On class number 5, curling irons. Can they levitate and fly into the bathroom cabinet? Examples on video. Meets for 4 weeks, Tuesday and Thursday for 2 hours, beginning at 7 p.m.
I don't use those either. I don't need to take that class. This is natural, buddy.
It's natural. That's right. In our house, you're going to be able to what do they call it? Clip out. Skip out on those. You don't have to worry about those. That's good. All right. I guess some men have problems with their wives' curling irons that never make it. They never get put up. All right, let's moving right along. Class number 6, how to ask questions during commercials and be quiet during the program. PROGRAMME, program. There's a helpline support on this and support groups. It meets 4 weeks, Friday and Sunday at 7 p.m.
If we're watching a program, I usually don't have anyone to ask questions because their mouth is open and their head is back on the couch.
I get to sit down. Otherwise, I am sparking. Okay, class number 7. Can a bath be taken without 14 different kinds of soaps and shampoos? This is an open forum. It'll be on Mondays at 8 p.m. for 2 hours. Actually, it's just one class, Monday at 8 p.m. for 2 hours. 14 kinds of soaps and shampoos. Right, moving right along. Class number 8. Wait a minute. They should put essential oils in that list. Can a bath be taken without 14 or 28 different kinds of essential oils?
No.
Okay.
No.
How about class number 8? I was wrong and he was right. Real life testimonials.
I don't know where you're going to find those. That's going to be rare.
This is at Tuesday at 6 p.m. Location to be determined.
They'll find the one. They're still searching. They're looking for the location because they're still searching for the one woman that was wrong.
And it'll be out in time so that you can listen to Walking in Spirit and Truth.
I am joking, by the way.
You
Please
are
don't
joking.
be offended.
Okay. I was wrong and he was right. Real life testimonials. Class number 9. We got just a couple more classes. How to parallel park in less than 20 minutes without an insurance claim. And this one will have driving simulations. It's going to meet for 4 weeks. It'll be 2 hours at Saturdays at noon. So we'll have to do another day for the Shabbat keepers. But there you go. Driving simulations. Simulations, not real life. It'd be simulations.
How are they?
Because of insurance purposes, they can't do live examples.
I guess you would know.
How to parallel park in less than 20 minutes without an insurance claim. Class number 10, learning to live. This is how to apply brakes without throwing passengers through the windshield. Learning to live. Okay, learning to live. That's on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Location to be determined. And class number 11, how to shop by yourself. How to shop by yourself. How to shop by yourself. Class number 11 meets for 4 weeks, Tuesday and Thursday for 2 hours, beginning at 7 p.m. Upon completion of any of the above courses, diplomas will be issued to the survivors.
To the survivors.
Yes, and there's that, and it's going to start out with 5 in the class.
I have to say this: I don't want to shop without you.
Right?
And we're still the only ones in the room.
We are the only ones in the room.
Yeah.
All right.
So
this is live radio, and Tom, how's your computer coming along? Well, okay. All righty then.
Do we need to text James?
Shall we see where everybody's at? Why is there
Where is everybody?
Where is everybody? We have...
Because it's an exciting day.
James's internet is down. He's trying to get it fixed. So he's hoped to have it back up running, but he is still up in the air. We're still waiting for Tom to connect with us.
Who had what?
Who had what? Well, let me go to my notes. Where are my notes?
Who had what? And you know what? This is live radio, live video.
Yeah.
And it's okay. We just have to go with the punches today, right? Because it's his birthday.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Everybody, we're listening, watching a live phone call. Woo.
Okay. Okay.
Don't switch off.
Oh. Having internet issues. Yes. Yep. Yeah. Do you want? You can join us.
What? Oh, is that our leader?
Yes. Well, you can, but you don't have to.
He just wants to have some fun on your birthday.
He wants to Mark wants to have fun on my birthday. I've got Mark, our great producer, here with me right now, live on the phone. And so those that are listening on YouTube Live, this is live. This is
how do I call him in?
And yeah, we're gonna. Are you? We want you, Mark. We want you, Mark. 5 minutes. Okay. All right, Mark. Okay. Thanks, Mark. So we're going to have Mark Smith going to join us as well.
Are we going to have anybody else?
We are. Well, we're going to keep working on James. We're going to wait and see if his internet works.
And if you will tell me who had what, that would be very helpful.
Very helpful. So Tom has the half Torah and Brit Chadesha portion.
All right.
And James has the Torah.
Do we know about Tom?
And Tom, I think it's an issue with the Google Hangouts because of a mishap that happened at the beginning of the show.
Okay. Well, you know what? With that, I think we need to do the news then.
We'll go with the news. And this is very interesting. Very interesting. In fact, yesterday, it kind of spurred my thoughts today when I saw these articles. And because a gentleman that joined us he and his wife joined us for the celebration last night for Hanukkah, was at the very beginning said, hey, can we pray for the persecuted Christians in the Middle East? Because some information that they had received and they were talking about and reading on their way down to join us, talked about that Christianity is at a point of extinction in the Middle East. I mean, think about this. Yes, we are those that are pursuing the Hebraic roots of our faith, and many of us just got we just got tired of churchianity. But our faith is biblically based, and Yeshua is our Messiah, and we say Yeshua instead of Jesus, and just simply because that's honestly, if you look at it, I mean that's what his mother called him, and among other reasons, his name is Yeshua because it's the Hebrew word for salvation, and that's his name. And so therefore, just like my name is John, and if I go to Mexico, the similar name is Juan, but I would introduce myself as John. And that's how that's how I look at it for Yeshua. So if you ever have any issues with that, just kind of think of it that way, or just go with it. Let's not take things so overly seriously that we divide ourselves over how we pronounce the name. My goodness. Okay, so this is an article from the Daily Mail, and you can find this article over on stevequayle.com. This is where I pulled it up but over at the Daily Mail, which is a British news source, it says Christians face imminent extinction in the Middle East. Archbishop of Canterbury warns. And it says here that Christians in the Middle East are facing imminent extinction. The Archbishop of Canterbury warned today. Justin Welby said followers of the faith were subject to the daily threat of murder, and the situation was the worst since the Mongol invasions of the 13th century. The stark warning came as the Archbishop urged the government to take in more refugees. Figures suggest that just 1 in 400 Syrian refugees given asylum in the UK last year was a Christian. 1 in 400. Speaking on the BBC's Andrew Marr show ahead of a special service at Westminster Abbey, Mr. Welby said the plight of Christians in many parts of the Middle East has become more and more acute. As we approach Christmas, we need to pray for them and speak out for them, unquote. And so I'm just letting you know this is coming from the Christian perspective. But if we don't talk about it now and we don't understand this plight, then they're going to come after us. Because why? Because that's what happened in Nazi Germany. That was the pattern. When the Christians didn't stand up for the plight of the Jews, what happened? The Jews were, and then after they went after the Jews, they started going after the Christians. And so what's the difference now? Justin Welby said followers of the faith were facing the daily threat of murder, and the situation was worse. Where did I go? In the last few years, they have been slaughtered by so-called Islamic State. And in many countries, they find themselves squeezed between the upper and lower millstones of pressure on them within society and of conflicts that afflict the region. Many have left. Hundreds of thousands have been forced from their homes. Many have been killed, enslaved, and persecuted, or forcibly converted. Even those who remain ask the question, why stay? The Archbishop pointed out that the Christian population of Iraq was under half of what it was in 2003, and many churches had been destroyed. And just keep in mind that Saddam Hussein actually protected the Christians at that time. Across the region, Christian communities that were the foundation of the universal church now face the threat of imminent extinction, he wrote. He added, we must support and help them in every way we can. Where they wish to leave, they will be refugees and in need of asylum. Where courageously and by the grace of God they chose to remain, they need publicity and external visible support. The Church of England leader will join Prince Charles for a service on Tuesday, service where royal is expected to give a reflection focusing on forgiveness and reconciliation. He has previously spoken of the heartbreak at the situation. So another says here, here's a picture here, and this is a nativity scene in Aqua, and this looks like it's in a refugee camp because there's tents all around it where they made a little nativity scene. So just keep in mind what's going on. Then there's another article that was from the GatesstoneInstitute.org, and it's called Burnt Beyond Recognition, Extremist Persecution of Christians, August 2018. And here it gives a number of different places: Ethiopia, Nigeria, we have Egypt, we have Kenya, we have Uganda, we have Iran, Central Asia, Indonesia, Chad, Comoros, or however you say that, Turkey. We have a number of countries where there's continuous persecution going on. In fact, for 47 years, there's a seminary in Turkey that's been shut down because of freedom of religion is not allowed. So there we go. I mean, those are some different things that are happening in the world with the persecutions and among the Christians. So I just want to bring that to everybody's attention and just kind of bring this out and talk about it a little bit as we bring some folks on board. And Mark is probably just about ready.
I already know. I'm working on all of it.
Okay.
So give me a minute.
All right. So with that said, let me go into some details about some things that are happening in these churches or these places around the world. Ethiopia, approximately 15 Christian priests were killed, at least 4 burned alive, and 19 churches torched during Muslim uprising in the east, where most of the nation's Muslim population, consisting of 33% of the population, is centered. Similar tensions are bubbling under the surface in the other parts of Oromia, which is approximately 50% Muslim, said a local source. We have even heard of places where Muslims had asked Christians to vacate the area. Hey, Joe.
Why don't we let her talk? So
these are just some things that are going on. Joe, have you been listening about the persecutions? And did you know it was my birthday?
Yeah, feliz cumpleaños. Feliz cumpleaños a ti, hermano.
Thank you. Hey, and we got Mark Smith joining us now, too.
We got a full house.
We got a full house here. I'm so glad that y'all joined me on my birthday.
You know you're in trouble when you have Mark and I on your birthday, right?
No, I feel especially blessed today, you know? This is a great surprise. And so I am missing Mark, and I'm not Mark, but Tom and James. But you guys are stepping up, and I appreciate that.
Can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you, Mark.
Oh, okay, good. So was that Joe wishing you happy birthday in another language?
In another, she was speaking in another tongue.
See? So I'm going to wish you happy birthday in another language.
Okay.
This is Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Okay. 我要大号码，喺啲嘢講呀噃，啊啲啲啊佢是啲有嘛，一啲嘢咧啊用嘢啊，你話啊，那個啲打那你咯嘛，你呀那那啊。
Oh, okay. Okay, I can give you an
Yeah, the
interpretation.
mga that first part was happy. The second part was birthday.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I thought I heard a second happy in there, but maybe I was
no, there was only one happy. Okay. We can say happy birthday. Yeah. That's like redundant, you know.
Yeah. Can I hear you sing that, Mark?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, and I just want to say this to all of our Asian speakers out there, that this is Tolerance Day, and we're tolerating Mark.
I think we're entertained by Mark.
Oh, this is called entertainment. Okay.
What I have to put up with just to have a show to come on to.
I know. There you go. So I just want to let everybody know, this is Joe Cameron that's joining us from Ohio.
Our friend.
Hi, I'm Joe.
Family, part of our Life of Worship family.
And we have Mark Smith. Mark Smith joining us from North Carolina on the border of South Carolina, just down the road from James Myers. And he's
that's me. That's me.
So, so there you go. That's us today. And again, my beautiful wife sitting next to me, Miss Sandi Craig.
And we have the Krakens too. Don't forget the Krakens.
The Krakens.
Bring in the Krakens.
Release the Kraken.
Release the Krakens.
Oh no.
In a box. I got them put away in a box.
Oh no! Let me out.
Don't get me started.
So y'all, we've been talking.
I see the ship.
You see the ship?
I did.
You did.
Back there, along with all my letters and my hair clip, and
it looks like there's an elephant on that. Okay, thanks, Mark. So that's Captain Ahab.
And Matilda.
That was last week.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you go back and listen to Only Visiting This Planet before you're off the planet. There you go. And visiting another planet. All right. So that's just a little plug, because Mark and Sandi get to participate together in that wonderful show.
We do.
Makes me laugh.
We're going to do a show on Hanukkah this Thursday, and Sandi's going to have the top 410 Hanukkahs of all time listed.
Okay. How many of those were on my birthday? Oh, that's getting old. All right, we're gonna move on. All right. So hey, did y'all listen? Did y'all listen to any of the article that I was talking about?
Even if they didn't, it's about persecution. And we can talk about persecution.
All right. Yeah. So we're talking about persecution today in today's news, current events, because the persecution of Christians is leading to an extinction level event
in certain countries.
Mark, what are your thoughts?
I'm white. I've never been persecuted.
That doesn't fly.
Really?
All right.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
All right. I want you to know something. By the way, it's very interesting because when my parents lived in the Ivory Coast, and because my dad's job took him there, and I got to visit the Ivory Coast on 3 different occasions, winter break and summertime, and then the following winter break, and got to go down there. It was very interesting because being white, being Caucasian, and going into a nation like that in Africa, I felt very much like a minority, because I was a minority. But there was really an eerie feeling of prejudice that was reversed, that many people that are, non-white, that have gone through that type of prejudice and persecution, perhaps because of the color of their skin. I felt that in Africa at the time, and I was very much aware of that, and very much aware that I wanted to make sure that I didn't make any waves with the locals, not for my own safety or anything like that, but just out of respect for their culture, it was just different. It was just a different feeling. If you've ever been into a place where the race that you are is I don't know. I'm not trying to dig myself into a hole, but I'm just simply saying it is a different feeling that we really, I didn't really grow up with any type of prejudice out there, or racism or persecution.
Well, you face the moments though, when you're in the Ivory Coast and things like that.
Yeah, it's just,
you were uncomfortable with their traditions and the way that they did things and the way that their lifestyle was.
Well, let me give you an example. Driving around the city of Abidjan. Abidjan is in the Ivory Coast, and it is it's in West Africa. It is the largest city there. It's not the capital, but the largest city there. But if you were non-native driving around, you were more likely to be pulled over by the police. And generally, and it could really, because of the corruption there, one guy said he had been pulled over several times, and he always carried a bottle of whiskey with him.
Let's take non-native though.
So in other words, this guy was Dutch. If you happen to be white, so he was white, and he was driving around, and he carried an extra bottle of whiskey with him in the car because the chances of getting stopped was high, and without having the risk of being put in jail and then having to pay multiple bribes to get out of jail for doing nothing. That's what they were looking for, is just simply a bribe. And so they would go after the white people, and so he carried a bottle of whiskey, and he would give them a bottle of whiskey, so he can get on down the road. I mean, that was just kind of a weird thing. So driving around as an 18-year-old in that country, I was like, what am I going to do? And I was driving a little Renault 5 with a transmission that came out, gear shift that came out of the dash, and it wasn't out of the floor. I mean, it was really weird. The top speed was 50 miles an hour downhill with the wind. I mean, that was quite the time. So me and my buddy, and he was from Colombia, Mauricio. So we were driving around, and boy, we found ourselves in the wrong part of town after dark. We're like, where are we? And everybody was staring at us like, what are you doing here? You are out of place. And we quickly, and there was a police officer standing on the corner, like, so we just, made turn. There's no blocks. You can't just go around the block. So you have to just kind of make a U-turn and get out of there. So there were some times that we were really uncomfortable, but
I have a similar story.
So yeah, Mark.
Well, I live in the United States, and I carry a bottle of whiskey around for the same reason. When several years back, I'm trying to find me here. I don't know where I'm at, so I can see what's going on. Oh, I don't have me in here anymore. What happened to me? Am I still here? Oh,
yep, you're here.
We
see you.
All I can see is the YouTube here, so I'm messed up somewhere. Well, I and two other guys went to Israel one time to help a congregation, Kiryat Yotzkin, to build a congregation there that they had been previously burnt down by some Orthodox Jews. And on the way, well, we were there for like 2 to 3 weeks. And before we went back to the States, we went to Jerusalem to hang out and sightsee for about 3 days. And when we first got there, we were driving around to find our hostel that we were hostel that we were going to stay in, and we took a wrong turn and went down this road. And when we got down there, it was real obvious we were in the Muslim quarter. Real obvious. that we were in the Muslim corner. And so we turned around and tried to get out as quick as we could, but it was a nightmare because we knew what was going on. And then on the same day, still looking for the hostel, we turned a corner in downtown Jerusalem, and all of a sudden 3 lanes of traffic were stopped, and we just barely had gotten around the corner from the light, the traffic light, and everything was stopped, and we were looking. We couldn't see what was going on. All of a sudden, we literally heard machine gun fire. This is real, as God is my witness. Machine gun fire, and in between, we were on the left lane with a middle lane and a right lane, and after we heard machine gun fire, we saw a whole bunch of people in single file coming down in between the left lane and the middle lane and the middle lane and the right lane, coming directly for us, and right in front of our car. They all turned and went to the right and went into the old city of Jerusalem.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a little scary.
That is scary. First time I went to Israel was in 1975. I was in 5th grade, and those type of tensions did not exist there. But those actually started after the Intifada in the 90s, and that's when the tensions really started to escalate. They really didn't have, because we stayed in the Muslim quarter, the Muslim sector, a block from the Damascus Gate at the Holy Land Hotel when I was a kid, and we just walked out of the hotel and walked down the street to there was no concern of our safety at that point in time. Of course, you use wisdom and that type of thing as you are in any big city, but nevertheless, these type of tensions have really escalated in this era of multiculturalism, and where they preach a tolerance that has actually created more intolerance than I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, Joe, do you have any thoughts about the persecutions and stuff?
Oh, I'm listening to you guys' stories, and I'm going, boy, I must have really lived in a bubble. Because with the bubble of Yeshua, of course. I lived in Southern California. It was a melting pot in a military community, and everybody got along with everybody. You had Filipinos, Japanese, Black, Africans. You had everything, mixed together, and we got along great. So the only story I can remember is when we went down to Tijuana, Mexico. I mean, way down, not just Tijuana, the city. I mean, we went to the like the ghettos, as they called it. And my mother says, we're going down there. We're going to go feed those that are hungry. And my mother looks Hispanic, okay, but she's very fair skinned. My dad looks more Mexican than my mom does because he's part Indian. Well, we went down there, and when we got down there to bring the food to the church, we had people that threw rocks at us and, was saying gringo, go home in Spanish. And they didn't like us much because we were in the area where it was like the darker skinned Aztec and Indian people, and they have an intolerance for white colored skin people because of the history of what the history that they've been taught about what the Spaniards did.
Right.
And, we ended up praying and everything about it. And the Father took care of us after about 5 minutes of that. The pastor brought us in the house and everything, but no machine guns, Mark, no machine guns, just little rocks. But this whole thing, everything that's going on in this world reminds me of Hanukkah. This world is in the Hellenistic Greek mindset today.
Yes.
We are back in the Greek mindset. It is just amazes me how the scripture says there's nothing new under the sun. It is so true. There's nothing new under the sun, because we are seeing little bits and pieces here and there here in the United States. Like in the prayer requests is this father who is losing pretty much custody of his son because he's calling his son a son and not a girl. We have a teacher that's being persecuted because this teacher, male PE teacher, had a little girl in her mid-teens going into the showers and taking a shower in the boys' locker room, and the school tells her, or tells him, you need to go in there and keep an eye on her as she washes herself when she is inappropriately, she's not dressed. And he said, no. He says, I will not do that because that's against the law, which is true. It's against the law. If he would have done that anywhere else, and they told him he would lose his job, and he is fighting against that. This is a persecution for even, being a good person.
Yes.
Good has become evil and evil's become good. We've got brothers and sisters that are all over this world that this is nothing to them. They're already dealt with that. They're dealing with being, if you don't reject Yeshua or Jesus, we're going to cut your head off, or we're going to kill your wife, or we're going to kill your husband. And it's just, it amazes me how this world has turned their back on these people and have brought in, like the border issue, are saying these people are okay. And no, they're not. We got people that are being persecuted, and nobody would harm their child or bring their child in the front of everything. As a mother, and I know Sandi would agree with me, you would not take your baby or even your grandbaby and use it as a shield or put it into danger. That's not love. Love is gone. People don't even know what love is anymore. They think love is the flesh. And I just, this time of year, it's even more so. It just amazes me how the Father puts everything in his place. But this time of year of Hanukkah, I just see it even more. It just, yeah, thank you.
Well, I know even last night, the colonel who has formerly worked at the Pentagon, who's a friend of ours and knows Jonathan, he started the evening after the meal, and he said, we have people that are suffering for the gospel's sake right here that should be here even this evening. And so we've experienced that. And we've told you, everybody, before, we were told by the authorities, that DA and things, that because we're pastors, Jonathan would be made an example of, and that's suffering for the gospel. And I hadn't thought of that in a while. And he reminded us last night, there are people when he prefaced this whole thing from other countries, there are people that should be here tonight in our midst that are suffering for the gospel.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, for Jonathan's sake, I mean, we've talked about this before, but because we're not, we are not a mainline denominational congregation, they're saying, well, you're just kind of a fringe.
We're not one who eats pig at the altar.
Yeah. Right. We meet on Saturday instead of on Sunday. I mean, just so so therefore, in the eyes of the world, we are.
But we bring it back to, really, when we look at the life of Joseph, even in our Torah portion, it is all about a test of the heart. Are we going to stand true and strong in the midst of the persecution? Are we going to remember, that brings in our Haftorah, that New Jerusalem had no walls. The walls really are the fire and the presence of Yah. And are we going to face Pharaoh boldly with no matter what the persecution might be?
Yeah, exactly. So the question is that I have for you all is that in the times of increasing persecution, because we know the Bible tells us these things will increase, and at what point in time do we stand, and what point in time is it time to leave? I mean, that's what they're facing in the Middle East. That's what they're facing in Africa. Do they leave their homes and abandon their homes and they look for a new home? Or do they stand up to maintain a foothold and a presence in the land that so desperately needs God? So what do we do? Mark, what are your thoughts?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Stand or leave.
Stand or leave. To me, as I think about this, I think that the answer to that is absolutely impossible to say, because we don't know what it's really like. And as I sit here and think day by day, and of course, I was a part of Lion Lamb Ministries for 20 years, and heard Monty and Eddie and everybody talk consistently week after week after week. Monty and I are very personal, good friends, still are today. We did not leave under any bad tidings or anything like that. But I heard on a weekly basis, sometimes daily basis, how close we were to going to leave for the greater Exodus. You know, and a lot of other people feel this way, that after a period of time, you get immune to that. After you haven't left, you know, time after time, after year, after month, after week, after day of hearing this, and you're ready to leave. You got your bags packed. You know what it's going to take. You've gone through the scenario 437 times, and you're supposed to be ready to go at any time, and then you never do. You grow callous to it. And so when I hear talking like this and what you're explaining, I know there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not speaking against what you're saying, but to ask that question, what do? Do you stay or you leave? My brain immediately goes to the last 16 years that I've heard this, and I'm going, I don't know. I stay. I mean, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I don't have a plan. Give me a plan. Give me a plan and tell me that you've got that plan implemented and ready to go. As a personal couple, my wife and I, we don't have a plan. What is it? You know, I mean, as far as the greater Exodus is concerned, you're supposed to go to the last place that you did Sukkot. We didn't do Sukkot last year. Well, we did, but we did it here. So we're here. You know, and so if persecution arises and they come against us, you weigh that in the moment. Is my answer to that. Is I can't say one way or the other. I think where your mind is set and how you are in that moment with your blinders on, where is your faith at that moment? And of course now, see, my definition of the word faith is remembering what God has done for you up to this point. That's my definition of faith. I don't believe faith is defined any way outside of God. So faith to me is only God and what God has done for me before. I have faith in that God will take care of me, whether I leave or whether I go. Should I stay or should I go?
Yeah. Well, and so what these Christians are facing is, because many of them don't even know about the Exodus, but here's an example of something that happened in Egypt. There was an attempted suicide attack against a Christian church outside of Cairo. It was foiled. After the police denied the bomber entry, he died upon detonating an explosive belt near the church. 2 others were injured. The church had apparently been targeted that day because it was packed with hundreds of worshipers celebrating an annual holiday. Later, it was discovered that the jihadi cell responsible for the attack, which included 2 women, had laced nails with poison to ensure the blast would cause fatal injuries. And Mina, a 22-year-old engineer, said, "Currently, I am no longer very interested in incidents." You know, talking about all these incidents that the Coptic church is facing in Egypt. And all the talks are nothing. I look for chances to leave this state. I don't belong here. I mean, so like what you're saying, Mark, a lot of people are just simply in that position where, you know, we don't know what we're going to do, but they're facing in different parts of the world. It's like, for the safety of me, my family, I don't belong here anymore. I have to go. And others are saying, you know, like in Iraq, where they have been pushed, I guess 50% of the Christian population has been driven out. The other 50% is, no, we're going to keep our flag here. We're going to keep ground here because we don't have any place else to go. And, you know, it comes down to those decisions. And that's what much of the church is facing today. And when I say the church, I'm saying the ecclesia, the assembly of the body of Messiah that congregates in different areas around the world. Joe, what are your thoughts?
Well, a lot of this has to do with fear, because in the scripture, and you guys probably would give me the address to it because I can't think of the address, but it says that we're not to fear of those who kill the flesh, but we're to fear of those that can kill the spirit, which is Yahweh. We're to fear Yahweh, not man. Yes, this is terrible things that people are doing, and this is all killing of the flesh, and this is a fear thing. The enemy has not done anything new under the sun, and I'm with Mark on the fact that, what would I do? Would I flee or would I stay? I don't know right now, because I have not dealt with that. I would be sitting there going, Father, what do I do? Because I'm a mom. All 3 of my kids do not live with me anymore. They're adults. And, as a mom, I'm sitting there going, man, I don't know if I'd run without my children and my grandchildren alongside me, but would they come with me? These are all questions we have in our minds. But some of these people, they're standing. We got to remember, look at some of the men and women in the scriptures. They stood their ground. They stood there and they listened to what the Father had said. But when the Father says no, don't do it. If you're to leave, He'll let you know. That's why we have to continue to be focused in His word, continue to be in our prayer closet, continue to grow closer to Him and listen. That's one thing. A lot of us, and I'm saying this in general, a lot of people that pray, they pray, but they don't stop and listen.
That's true.
Yes.
That's one of our problems, is listening. We have a listening problem, and I'm one of them. I have a problem with listening. Don't do that, Joe. Don't do that. And boom, I end up brick wall right in the face, because I didn't listen. But this whole thing, we need to, as a brothers and sisters in Yeshua, we need to get together and we need to start praying for our brothers and sisters that are being persecuted. We need to start praying for them to be strengthened. And if it's their time and season that the Father says, it's time for you to go, and I have a reason for you to do this, because through Stephen's stoning, we have Shaul.
Yes.
Do we not?
I'm sorry, Joe, what was it you said? I was busy, wasn't listening. What can you say again?
About?
No, I was just joking. You said
which part, Mark?
all of it. Say it all over again. I wouldn't.
Okay, mira, Mark.
Okay.
Stephen y Shaul,
I get it.
Los dos hombres.
Well, hey, I want to just say, Tova says the Ruach of Yah will tell us where to go. And she said, I'm assured He will. And I agree. We've got to walk in discernment. We've got to be listening. So we're so familiar with that voice, as you said, Joe, that when He says go, we go. When He says stay, we stay.
Well, and that ties us into the Brit Chadesha portion of the Torah portion this week, which is found over in John chapter 10. And in verses 27 and 28, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, and I give eternal life to them, and they will never perish, and no one will snatch them out of my hand. My Father, who has given them to me, is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of the Father's hand. I and the Father are one. That I think we really need to find solace in, that is that if we're His sheep, we're going to hear His voice. And His voice, my sheep know my voice. And there's a time where it's like, no, the Father say, no, preservation of life is in hand and we need to go. And it's not necessarily the greater exodus. It's just time to preserve life, the life of our family, the lives of our loved ones, and even our friends. It's like, okay, we're going to go. We may not even know where we're going to go, but we're going to listen to our shepherd. He's going to lead us to a safe pasture. And on the other hand, there's times that He calls us to stand. And that is what you were talking about, Sandi, in the Torah portion that brings us in the Torah portion of Miketz about the test of the heart. Is our heart, and because a lot of times, is our heart strong enough, sturdy enough, bold enough, encouraged enough to be able to say, this is the right thing, to find the right path.
But don't you think that's what all these, the tribulation we've currently faced in our own lives, meaning all of us, not us particularly, although we have, isn't that preparing us for the big test? You know, we're learning how to stand and how to listen right now. So when things hit this country even more greatly, or hit the world in a bigger way, we're gonna be so familiar with his voice, and how to walk upright, and how to stand upon his Torah, stand upon his word, that we'll be able to withstand and do and hear and go, or whatever he asks.
Right. So it's a test of courage. Shall we say that? Because Joseph, in all that he went through, he had to take heart, which really speaks about walking courageously, understanding, being faithful, that issue of fidelity to his word, that loyalness, that trustworthiness, that God will walk us through. And we find great courage that whatever stance we take, that he's with us.
You know, Joseph, you're talking about Joseph. Joseph, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
He through his whole turmoil, he was put in a pit. He was sold as a slave. He became a slave. He was unjustly accused. He was put in prison. All these things that happened to him was to help him understand everyone and their plight, from the slave to the prisoner, to also the cupbearer and the baker, to all the way to the point where he became second in command of Egypt, to where he was able to run the country because he understood what everyone in the country dealt with. He knew what a slave had to deal with. He knew what a man that had been accused unjustly had to deal with. He knew all these things. And I think the Father had him do this to grow. It's like boot camp. You get into boot camp, they take everything from you, everything, you know. They give you new underwear, new socks, new clothes, new shoes. Everything is new. I'm pretty sure Mark can attest to this. You being in the Navy, and you sit there and you go through that, and then they have you run miles, and they strengthen you, and they're teaching you tactical things. They're teaching you how to use a weapon. They're teaching you all these things. It's the same thing what the Father's doing with us. He's teaching us through the tribulations we go through, and testing that he's teaching us, and he's strengthening our muscles, not our physical muscles, but our spiritual muscles, the muscles that we're going to need so that we can stand strong when we do go through those persecutions. Because there's a lot of brothers and sisters that are right now out there that have been beat up, that have been attacked, but they're so strong in him, and they still are human, but they're strong enough in him to where they're sitting there going, Abba, Father, just like Stephen did, forgive them, and I know where I'm going, because they were focusing on him. And that's what all this is for, is so that we can learn to focus totally and completely on him. And I like Mark said it earlier, put those blinders on. Don't look to the left, to the right, look straight ahead, look at him and look at his word and what he has to say, because he has a lot of information out there for us.
All right. Very good. Thanks, Joe. Mark, any last words as we wrap this up today? No, not well, hey, you know what? I want to say thank you to Sandi and to Joe and to Mark for jumping in and being part of Let Us Reason Together. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Today is the first day of Hanukkah.
First day. Yeah.
Started last night.
On the first day of Hanukkah, my true love gave to me the first day of 8 days.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Do we get to hear
I got another one for you.
Okay.
Happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. There you go. That's all I got.
Mark, granddaughter would dance with you, Mark. And she'd probably pull on your beard.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Because this is Decembeard.
It's what?
Yeah. It's Decembeard month. So December with a beard, Decembeard.
Okay.
So it's okay that we have beards this month.
I just want to say I'm really glad that you decided to keep your beard. this time instead of growing it, shaving it off, growing. Sandi, how you doing with that, by the way?
He does better this time. The last 3-4 years now, better than you were doing it before. Before he was all over beard.
Is it softer this time?
Yes.
Hey, I found some.
Wait till it gets this long. Wait till it gets this long. Sandy's really
he shakes it off. He trims it.
Well, see, because it just goes like this for me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because you're sparky.
And sparky. Yeah. I think it's
that
from
electricity.
Tase. You get tased and it changes your beard.
Like that.
Exactly.
I'm thinking about curling mine.
Well, I'll send you my curling iron.
Before I started shaving back in the day, so I was like 5th grade. It was probably about the same year I got to go to Israel the first time. Mm-hmm. I had an old radio, and that old radio was in Norway. It was up in the attic of the house we were renting, and I pulled it down because it was a tube radio, and I'm pushing and touching stuff on the back of the radio because the back was open. You run on 220 in Norway. I found out what 220 does for you. I think it changed the effect of my beard. That's why it does that.
Been there, done that. In 1985.
And look at her beard. Did everything.
Joe does not have a beard.
Well, I do. I know some Joes that have a beard.
There you go. All right. Well, hey, let's wrap this up for today. And I just want to say thank you again to my co-hosts that joined me today here on Let Us Reason Together. I want to remind everybody that tomorrow is Tuesday's Chameleon Church with Biblical Antidotes for the Modern Man with Alan Aguirre, Jamie Louie, Tom Collins, and Rabbi Darrell Weinberg. And there's 3 ways to know about Lamb Radio and LambTube by going to the Lamb Radio Facebook page. And you can get our email updates that are sent out every other Sunday and give you a full blast of what's happening here in this ministry. You can also find out on the Lamb Radio webpage, messianiclambradio.com. Get the bulletins. Keep up. Also, you become a sponsor when you sponsor and click on and purchase from the sponsors that have advertisements on the Lamb Radio page. So we want to say, hey, check them out. Got some really good products. And when you donate specifically to Lamb Radio, you are a sponsor. So that's what keeps the word and the good news going on around the air so that we can do things like this. And we really appreciate you. Thank you again, everyone. And I will have to say, until next time, shalom.